Are you considering a move to Raleigh or Cary or Durham or anywhere considered the Triangle area of North Carolina? Well, if you are, I bet you've done your due diligence and are finding lots of information. But what you want to know is what it's really like to live here. So stay tuned because I've got insider information and I'm going to let you in on 4 things you need to know before making the move here. Before we get started, if you're not already part of Marti Hampton real estate family, make sure you subscribe below and get more videos like this one. Don't forget to ring the bell also and you get notified every time I put up a new video. You know, let's get down to it. Let's talk about the weather and the seasons first. It's one thing to read about the average temps, but it's a whole different thing to experience the weather here. So one of the things I love about Raleigh is that we have all 4 seasons. Well, mostly. You could call it winter. The seasons are pretty mild and some years spring and fall are shorter than others. You know, temperatures in the spring range from mid-60s to mid-70s. And things heat up in the summer with averages in the 80s and the 90s. Around October, the temperatures begin to ease and we're back to the 60s and the 70s. And you'll know fall is here when the oak leaves start to change in beautiful hues of orange and red. You know, winter lasts from December to February, I always say till Valentine's Day. And with highs are generally going to be in the 50s and the lows are going to hover around 30s. Now let's talk about the seasons here, from the pollening to the occasional snow shower that makes locals go completely nuts. The locals like to joke that there are actually 12 seasons. Take spring, for instance. You know, when the tulips and the daffodils start to bud, that's my cue to head to North Hills to start my spring and summer dress shopping. But as soon as I pack away my winter clothes, the spring deception or the false spring is over. There's a brief freeze and a week or 2 of cold before the real spring arrives. And that's when the city really sparkles and comes alive. The St. Patrick's Day parade downtown kicks off the festival season. And before you know it, the roses are in bloom in the Raleigh Rose Garden. So this time of year is truly stunning. You will fall in love if you visit now. What no one wants to talk about, though, is the pollen. While I love spring, this is one thing that tends to take newcomers by surprise. And one morning, you'll find everything coated in a beautiful yellow pollen. Don't bother washing off your car for about 3 weeks when this happens. The good news is it'll be over just as quickly as it came. So you'll have plenty of time to enjoy the beautiful weather and to take in some of our long-standing traditions like Meet the Street Festival in Wake Forest and the annual Apex Peak Feast before summer arrives. You'll have plenty of time to enjoy the beautiful weather and to take in some of our long-standing traditions like Meet in the Street Festival in Wake Forest and the annual Apex Peak Feast before summer arrives. And I'm not going to lie to you, summers here are hot. But we have many options for cooling off, from community pools to splash pads to spray grounds and lakes. If the sun and the sand are calling your name during the summer, Wrightsville Beach is a short 2 hours away, and it's a perfect day or weekend trip. The Atlantic and the Crystal Coast are about 2.5 hours away, so you will escape to the ocean breeze as often as you like when you live here. If you're an outdoor enthusiast, fall will likely be one of your favorite times of year. Festivals and events are still in full swing and the fall leaves are breathtaking. One of my favorite places to enjoy the colors is walking around Lake Johnson Trail. Sometime around mid-December, winter temperatures arrive. One thing the locals know is that no 2 winters here are ever the same. You know, sometimes it's 70 degrees in December and you're celebrating the holidays on your front porch. And other times there's an occasional ice storm when the snow is in the forecast. You'll want to hit the grocery store early because the locals stock up on bread and milk like it's going to be a blizzard. It's really laughable. Even though it's rare, the city has been known to shut down over a few inches of snow. Maybe you've seen this Snowmageddon meme from an unexpected snowfall in 2014. And while we have a few extremes, the weather here is generally ideal. You get a change of seasons without worrying about shoveling your car out of snow or dealing with major events like earthquakes. So now that you understand the weather patterns, let's dive into the communities, where you should live. You know, there's a lot to consider when deciding which area to move to in Raleigh and the Triangle. We know all the ins and outs since we've served this area for over 30 years. So if you're curious about the best suburbs or the latest developments around this town, check out the videos linked in the description. While the information I'm about to share might not directly impact your decision to move here, it'll definitely alleviate the confusion if you do. So once you're here, you're likely to hear the term inside the Beltline, ITB, and outside the Beltline, OTB. And the first thing to know is there are two Beltlines in Raleigh. ITB refers to the area inside the Beltline, the smallest Beltline. The first Beltline is 440, the interstate that encircles downtown Raleigh. If you live within this circle, you're ITB. Raleigh's oldest neighborhoods, like historic Oakwood, can be found here. And a walking tour will acquaint you with the area while you can catch a glimpse of the city's oldest home built in 1840. In addition to the monuments and government buildings located here, you'll also find some of the nightlife and some of Raleigh's more walkable areas. If you live outside the Beltline, or OTB, you'll live beyond this ring, but generally within the 540 boundary. The other ring that encompasses the rest of Raleigh, this area is more suburban. It includes communities surrounding Raleigh like Knightdale and Morrisville. Whether you're ITB or OTB, each area has distinct neighborhoods and vibes. And regardless of where you land, Raleigh is filled with opportunities to meet people and get involved. This brings us to the third thing people often wish they knew before they moved here, and that's how to meet people. The thought of starting over can feel overwhelming, so if you're leaving friends and familiar places behind, the good news is meeting new people in Raleigh is way easier than you might think. Starting a friendly conversation with a stranger is perfectly normal here. So we may be an urban area with a mix of people from across the country, but that's a piece of Southern charm that's remained. So beyond making acquaintances, there are so many ways to get involved and meet people with similar interests as yours. You know, plenty of meetup groups have activities ranging from book clubs to gaming to tennis. In addition to interest, you can find groups by location, age, range, and even marital status. So the Trolley Pub Mixer Tour is a fun way to get to know the city and meet new people. If you'd rather run than pedal through town, you want to check out one of our many running clubs. You'll find an abundance of groups like Elevate Raleigh, where professional women can network and empower each other, and the Lions Club for those interested in serving the community. There are always local networking events where you can make connections. Giving back is another great way to meet people, so consider joining organizations like Activate Good or the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina. And you'll definitely want to explore Raleigh's parks, recreation, and cultural resources. Are you into soccer or ultimate frisbee? Find out how to join a local sports league. Interested in the arts? Attend workshops or classes with others who want to learn about pottery, painting, or other endeavors. If you're religious, there are many churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples to choose from, and you can also find a community there. So whether you're an adventurer, an artist, or a fitness enthusiast, a group of people is waiting to welcome you. And before long, you're going to feel right at home in Raleigh, North Carolina. We haven't covered every insider secret in this video, but you can consider yourself in the know about the weather, locations, and how to meet people. So when you get here, we'll fill you in on Eastern versus Western barbecue debate. As for the rest, just tell us your ideal lifestyle, and any of our partner agents will help you find the perfect neighborhood. Ready to see if Raleigh is right for you? Get started right now by filling out the form below, and we'll be in touch very soon.